Some of you may have already gotten wind of this if you follow some of the bigger Call of Duty YouTubers, or if you frequent the Advanced Warfare subreddit, but just in case you don't, there's going to be a huge buff to several weapons incoming soon. So far, Advanced Warfare has had just a few balance patches implemented. Now, as many of you should know, prior to the first patch, the BAL 27 reigned supreme. Literally, almost every lobby you joined would be full of BAL users. It was just a dominating force all around. Personally, I never used it prior to the first patch, so I missed out on all its greatness. I was more interested in doing camo challenges with the weaker guns, so naturally I would get a bit upset when I was using, say, the ARX against a full lobby of BAL users. But then the first patch rolled in, and they nerfed the BAL by cutting its 3-shot kill range and giving it some recoil. Now you'll see the gameplay in the background is with the BAL, which I believe was just after the nerf. So the gun is definitely still usable, as you'll see by my score at the end. On top of the BAL nerf, they buffed the ASM-1 SMG. Why they chose to buff that particular gun out of all the SMGs, I was not quite sure. Regardless, the huge buff it received made this the #1 gun in Advanced Warfare, where it currently resides as of this video. To be honest, I believe the ASM-1 is now even stronger than the pre-patch BAL 27. It has one of the best 3-shot kill ranges in the entire game. It also has a huge ammo supply, especially with extended mags. It does have some recoil, but certain variants reduce this drastically, and the foregrip also helps, of course. Now, if you put all those positive attributes together, you've got a sweaty tryhard user's wet dream. And that, my friends, is precisely what is happening. Every lobby has at least half, if not more, of your enemies using the ASM-1. And once again, there's little old me using a horribly underpowered weapon to try and get camo challenges, such as the terrible AMR-9. Of course, you could say to me, Tabor, just use the damn weapon. But not everyone wants to use the ASM-1. Just like I was very hesitant to use the BAL before it was nerfed, I don't really care for the ASM-1. And I even have the Speak Easy variant. But really, what counter is there to it? For example, the Magnitude variant of the ASM-1, which you get for a mere 300 kills, has a huge range. If you put advanced rifling on this, you have one of the largest 3-shot kills in the entire game. Again, coupled with the huge magazine size and the minimum recoil, you've got a force to be reckoned with. Of course, there are over 30 guns in the game, but no one uses much of any of them, save for the few of us going for camo challenges. Now, I don't want to come off as a wussy-tailed crybaby here. I don't really care what my opponent uses. I can normally outplay most ASM-1 users, even with a terribly underpowered weapon. That's not to say I'll be posting a 2-to-1 KD ratio in such matches, but I can at least go positive. I'm not one of those people who cry, "Way to use the ASM-1, you tryhard," every time I die to the gun, but if I get 3-shot killed from halfway across the map by one, I'll just shake my head and respawn. So I mention all this because Michael Condrey, one of the developers for Sledgehammer, recently tweeted 2 important bits of information in regard to weapon balance. His first tweet was in response to a user that tweeted, "Buffs only, no nerfs, please." And he replied with, "That's where my head is at too, to be honest." It was a simple reply, but it likely means that the ASM-1 will stay in its current form. Which is okay with me, depending on what guns receive the buffs he's alluding to. Some of the drastically weaker guns that need buffs are the AMR-9, the MK14, the EPM3, the Lynx, the shotguns, and most of the pistols. I just hope that with these upcoming buffs, some of the weapons are made more viable to compete with the ASM-1 and BAL. The next tweet is very similar to the one we just read. Someone asked if he could buff the MK14, and he replied with, "All weapons being looked at currently for a weapon balance pass." Now this is promising. Instead of just buffing a few select weapons, we may get buffs for all weapon classes, even shotguns. So 2 simple tweets, but they could mean a world of change is coming to Advanced Warfare soon. Let's just hope they don't get too buff happy and make a certain gun stand high above the rest, such as the ASM-1 currently. Now, I'm very curious as to what weapons my subscriber base tends to use. Post in the comments what weapons are your favorite. So far, I think the Amelia is mine.